Why does God test us? We're going to answer that question. You can also discover more on gotquestions.org. When God tests his children, he does a valuable thing. David sought God's testing, asking him to examine his heart and mind and see that they were true to him. When Abram was tested by God in the matter of sacrificing Isaac, Abram obeyed and showed to all the world that he is the father of faith. In both the Old and New Testaments, the words translated test mean to prove by trial. Therefore, when God tests his children, his purpose is to prove that our faith is real. Not that God needs to prove it to himself, but that he is proving to us that our faith is real and that no trial will overcome our faith. In his parable of the sower, Jesus identifies the ones who fall away as those who receive the seed of God's word with joy, but as soon as a time of testing comes along, they fall away. James says that the testing of our faith develops perseverance, which leads to maturity in our walk with God. James goes on to say that testing is a blessing because when the testing is over and we have stood the test, we will receive the crown of life, which God has promised to those who love him. The testing or trials we undergo come in various ways. Becoming a Christian will often require us to move out of our comfort zones and into the unknown. Perseverance in testing results in spiritual maturity and completeness. This is why James wrote, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers, whenever you face trials of many kinds." The testing of faith can come in small ways and daily irritations. They may also be severe afflictions and attacks from Satan. Whatever the source of the testing, it is to our benefit to undergo the trials that God allows. The account of Job is a perfect example of God's allowing one of his saints to be tested by the devil. Job bore all his trials patiently and did not sin by charging God with wrongdoing. However, the account of Job's testing is proof that Satan's ability to try us is limited by God's sovereign control. All our trials work toward God's perfect purpose and our benefit. There are many examples of the positive results of being tested. The psalmist likens our testing to being refined like silver. Peter speaks of our faith as of greater worth than gold. And that is why we suffer grief in all kinds of trials. In testing our faith, God causes us to grow into strong disciples who truly live by faith and not by what we see. When we experience the storms of life, we must dig our roots more deeply into God's Word and cling to His promises so we can weather whatever storms come against us. Most comforting of all, we know that God will never allow us to be tested beyond what we are able to handle by His power. His grace is sufficient for us, and His power is made perfect in our weakness. That is why Paul said, "For Christ's sake, I delight in weaknesses, in insults, in hardships, in persecutions, in difficulties. For when I am weak, then I am strong." That answers the question, why does God test us? On our website, gotquestions.org, you'll find a deeper discussion and recommended resources. If this helped you, give us a thumbs up and click subscribe. Meanwhile, if you'd like to study more, click the bell and check out these other questions.